It is the 25th day of January 2021. Good afternoon to you wherever you are, and welcome to the midday news here on Pan-African Television. We're coming to you live in our studios here in Abelenque, Swanika Street of Accra. We're live across 46 African countries and other parts of Europe. My name is Ivan Bands. Now let's take a look at our headlines for today. Now coming up, we bring you the profile of former President Flight Lieutenant Jory John Rawlings. And also access to potable water. KJM Foundation constructs borehole in Edufukrum. And also coming up, private schools call on government to intervene in fee structure amidst COVID-19. And in business today, JRA exceeds 2020 revised target. And this is coming from the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. And on international today, the people want the fall of the regime. What lies behind the protest in Tunisia? Now we'll bring you this and many other stories, including sports, international, and of course entertainment pretty soon. Do stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for still staying with us. My name is Ivan Bands, and of course this is the midday news here on Pan-African Television. Now the news in detail. Now John Jory Rawlings, born on 22nd June 1947 and died on 12 November 2020, was a Ghanaian military officer and politician who led the country from 1981 to 2001 and also for a brief period in 1979. He led the military junta until 1992 and then served 2 terms as the democratically elected president of the Republic of Ghana.
Flight Lieutenant Jory John Rawlings was born in Accra on 22nd June 1947 to a Ghanaian mother from Jelukope near Keta in the Volta region and a Scottish father. He was educated at Achimota School where he obtained his General Certificate of Education O-Level in 1966. He enlisted as a flight cadet in the Ghana Air Force in August 1967 and was subsequently selected for officer cadet training at the Ghana Military Academy and Training School, Teshi in Accra. In March 1968, he was posted to Takoradi in the Western region to continue on his course. He passed out in January 1969 as a commissioned pilot officer. He won the coveted Speedbird Trophy as the best cadet in flying and airmanship. He earned the rank of flight lieutenant in April 1978. He was an efficient officer with a close rapport with his men. During his service with the Ghana Air Force, he witnessed the deterioration of discipline and morale, reflecting the corruption of the regime of the Supreme Military Council (SMC) at that time. As promotion brought him into contact with the privileged classes and their social values, his awareness of the injustices in society was sharpened. He was thus regarded with some unease by the SMC. He read widely and discussed social and political ideas with a growing cycle of like-minded friends and colleagues. On May 28, 1979, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, together with 6 others, appeared before a general court-martial in Accra, charged with leading a mutiny of junior officers and men of the Ghana Armed Forces. On May 28, 1979, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, together with 6 others, appeared before a general court-martial in Accra, charged with leading a mutiny of junior officers and men of the Ghana Armed Forces on 15th May 1979. There was strong public reaction, especially after his statement had been read in court, explaining the social injustices that had prompted him to act. The ranks of the armed forces, in particular, expressed deep sympathy with his stated aims. When he was scheduled for another court appearance on 4th June 1979, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was sprung from custody with the support of both military and civilians. he led a revolt which decisively ousted the Supreme Military Council from office and brought the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council into being. The AFRC, under the chairmanship of Flight Lieutenant Rawlins, carried out a house cleaning exercise aimed at purging the armed forces and society at large of corruption and graft, as well as restoring a sense of moral responsibility and the principles of accountability and probity in public life. Meanwhile, following the program already set in motion before the 4th June uprising for civilian administration, general elections were held on 24th September 1979. The AFRC handed over to the civilian government of the People's National Party (PNP) and the President Hilal Liman. On 31st December 1981, Flight Lieutenant Rawlins led a section of the armed forces to overthrow the PNP administration. A Provisional National Defense Council composed of both civilian and military members was established, with Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlins as the chairman. His interests include reading, building model aircraft, horse riding and swimming. Flight Lieutenant Rawlins ceased to be a member of the armed forces with effect from September 14, 1992. He formed the National Democratic Congress, which contested and won the 1992 presidential and parliamentary elections. He and the party again won the 1996 elections. His term of office ends in the year 2000. He is the joint recipient of a 1993 World Hunger Prize. He had an honorary Doctor of Law degree from Medgar Evers College, City University of New York, and Lincoln University doctorate degree for diplomacy and development. He passed away at age 73 on November 12, 2020 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital 2 months after that of his mother Victoria Agbotui on 24 September 2020. Rawlins was married to Nana Kunedu Ajiman, who he met while at Achimota College. They had 3 daughters, Zenota Rawlins, Ya Asantua Rawlins, Amina Rawlins, and 1 son, Kimathi Rawlins.
All right, so we have been joined in on phone line by our colleague and, of course, correspondent at the conference center where the filing pass of the first president, the late first president of the Republic of Ghana, Flight Lieutenant John Jerry Rawlins, is happening as it stands now. What if you can hear me? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ivan.
Right, so if you can hear me, what can you report to us on the happenings on the grounds at the conference center as it stands now?
Okay, well, there is actually a sad the Rawlins family as well as Ghana as a whole. Well, all respect for the it is a 4-day program to honor the late first president of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlins. Well, yesterday, which is the 24th of January, was set for a vigil at the Air Force Officers' Mess in Accra in honor of the late president. And the vigil was done by families of linked government officials, dignitaries, and other dignitaries. Well, today happens to be the day 2 of the funeral rites of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlins, and it's taking place here in International Conference. Well, I saw a lot of dignity, and according to the program outreach, the program started exactly 5 a.m. today, and FAP received the body part. So I was able to talk to Rashid Perko, Honorable Abdul Rashid Perko, who happens to be the Wild Central, the MP for Wild Central.
Right.
I spoke to Perko, the Deputy General Secretary of the Official National Democratic Congress. I got the opportunity to check the answer the national election director for the MD.
Right. Right. So now, in having this conversation with all these dignitaries that you've mentioned, you've spoken to Rashid Perko, you spoke about talking to the director of elections for the NDC, Elvis Efri-Ankra. What did they all say? What was a significant thing that came up in their conversation?
Well, they all shared memorable thoughts about the excellency that things it did for the people and all.
Hello, Maud. Can you hear me? Right. Right. I'm hearing that we're having a bit of technical challenges with our correspondent, Maud Yaranate. Well, as and when we get to her, I will still put her on the line and have that conversation with her. Now, let's look at the activities or the chain of activities or programs that will be undertaken for the funeral rites of the first president of the Fourth Republic of Ghana. Now, yesterday there were some activities that came up. Today is Monday. Now, on Monday, 5 a.m., we saw the family receive body, a very private one there. And of course, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. today, we're going to be having heads of security agencies also come filing past the remains of the late president. Leaders of public parties also will be present. State office of former President John Jerry Rawlings will also be there. We have traditional and religious leaders, of course, also are going to be present, and we'll look at the general public also will be there. Now, the fourth day, Wednesday, 27th January 2021, there's also a state funeral, the Black Star Square. That is where it will be happening, the state funeral at the Black Star Square. Now, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., there's also going to be filing past the mortal remains of the former president. We'll have the family also come through. We'll have the CDS and the IDP and of course, heads of security agencies also come through. We'll have a former chairman and of course, Council of State also coming through as well. We have a chief of staff, we have the chief justice, speaker of parliament, former president John Agyekum Kufuor, and spouse also will be present. We'll have former president J.D. Mahama, and spouse also will be there. We'll have vice president of the Republic of Ghana, and the second lady would also be present. We'll have visiting heads of state also present. We have president of the Republic and first lady also would be there, and of course we have the clergy also will be there. Now 9:10 a.m. on the Wednesday 27th of January 2021, we'll have the burial service start as well. That will start at exactly 9:10 a.m. Now meanwhile, right, so I'm told that we have our correspondent Maud, of course, on the line. Maud, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right, so then I was also asking a very important question that as you spoke to them, what were the significant things that obviously most of them spoke about? Did they touch on the
fact that he was one of the greatest leaders here in Ghana?
Right.
And I posted a question to Elvis Zefria.
Right.
What is that one thing he would want to speak of? I mean, more learn from his excellence, Jerry John Rawlings. And the answer he gave was the truth. That was the answer he gave. And I agree with him that if we come up or if we are truthful in regards to what we do, Ghana will be a better country. So I think almost everybody shared their thoughts, their memories about his excellency.
Right,
I think that this would also be another activity where we are going to give you live report and details one of Ghana.
Right. Maud, so finally, before I let you go, have you been able to get closer to the first daughter of the former president, Dr. Zenato Agyeman Rawlings, Member of Parliament?
No, after when we got there, we were told, so when it was...
Yeah. But I'm sure you were able to, as it were, see or better still, get to know the mood at which she was in.
Yes.
Yeah. What can you tell us about her mood?
It's a bad day. You losing your father is not an easy thing. Of course, she's going through a lot, but I think with time she's going to.
Hello, Maud, are you on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Right. So finally, before I let you go, what would be your general, overview of the mood of the place as it stands now at the International Conference Center?
Of course, it's a tough day for Ghanaians, not just the royal family. It is a sad day for Ghanaians. You see people so needy, and others trying to man up and go back to their various activities. But I feel everything is fine. in terms of the protocols as well. It was well observed, adhering to the protocol.
Right.
Well observed. It's success. Everything went well.
Right. And you can confidently tell us that the adherence to the COVID-19 protocol is on point.
It was on point. It was on point.
Right. Thank you very much
You
for.
can't enter with
Great. Right. Thank you very much for your time, Maud. As at when the other developing stories, we would call you so you can feed us in as well. Right. Thank you very much for your time. Now, away from that, the NDC has also political party has also, as it were, issued a statement with regards to the funeral rites of the former president of the Republic of Ghana, Flight Lieutenant John Rawlings. Now, it says the program of activities for the funeral of the founder of the National Democratic Congress, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. Now it says leadership of the NDC, National Democratic Congress, wishes to announce for the attention of all members, sympathizers, and fellow countrymen and women that filing past the mortal remains of our fallen soldier would commence at 9 a.m. on Monday, 25th January 2021, and continue until 2 p.m. On the same day. It will be done strictly in accordance with COVID-19 protocols as the body lies in repose at the Accra International Conference Center. The National Democratic Congress has decided to honor its founder, the late Flight Lieutenant John J. Rawlings, with a special virtue symposium to celebrate his life and to commemorate his legacy. The symposium will take place at the Kama Conference Center at Laboni Junction in Accra in the evening of Monday, the 25th of January 2021. Below are details of the program. Symposium 6:30 p.m. Kama Conference Center, Accra. Now, program for the symposium: opening prayer, comedial, Akrasi Sapon, welcome address, purpose of gathering, and of course by Honorable Samuel Okujeto. Okay, Samuel Ofosu Ampo, I beg your pardon. Well, so the details goes on and on and on. This is an information coming from the NDC political party, the founder of the National Democratic Congress. Now, from that, let's move to some other stories. Now, after several years of having to live without access to potable water and battling with diseases born out of... Right. Okay, so I'm told that Afote Nilai Afote Agbo is on the line as it stands now. He was the former member of parliament for the Katamanso constituency. He worked closely with the former president, Flight Lieutenant John J. Rawlings. Good afternoon to you, Honorable. If you can hear me, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Right, and many thanks for joining us on Pan-African Television.
Thank you very much.
Right, now we know today is a very sad day for countrymen and women in the country as it stands now today. I mean, people are filing past the mortal remains of the late president. Now, first of all, we know you worked closely with him. How would you describe him? What sort of leader would you say he was?
The leadership of Rawlings will hardly get in this country. I'm saying this because this is somebody who will at any time tell us what is going on with his men around him and his subordinates, whether they are happy or not. I'm saying this because you may be surprised how he survived for a number of years that he was in office. Not a single good year. A period within the military regime and a period within the democratic dispensation. He was able to survive it with all the bodyguards around him, and no one to influence any of them to get rid of him. This is the class of a man we are talking about. This tells his level of wisdom and integrity.
Right.
And how smart and intelligent he was. My brother, this is somebody that you'll be ready to die for. Just because he will show to prove to you that you are a human being and you are also part of the system. With this kind of treatment and body language and gesture, at a point in time, he will mobilize all his bodyguards and the staff of the office for a meeting. And the data, he will be the most senior people to handle the meeting, and he himself will be part of the meeting.
Right.
He will go down to the people, the level of the people, find out from them of the grievances, the displeasures, and what contribution they think they can bring on board for everybody to embrace.
Now, on the flip side, well,
this is somebody that will have watched close.
Right. Now, earlier on, you spoke about the fact
But
that
did his best by inviting us to his office and sitting with us, interacting with us on one-on-one basis. His SSC John Dramani Mahama also did the same thing. But we still get there. Always, it is natural.
Right. Now, earlier on, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Right. So earlier on, you made mention of the fact that yes, he had governed this country for about 19 years. Now, we cannot talk about his leadership, processes without also looking at the developmental projects that he brought up with. We can, of course, talk about the fact that yes, he saw to the existence of the Kaneshie market, the very huge market we have here in Kaneshie.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Don't even talk about even the market.
Yeah. Would you say that for 19 years in power, he had done enough as far as developmental project is concerned in this country?
Thank you very much, Naba, and thank you very much. I want to listen very carefully. My brother, there's a sense that development is a gradual process.
Right.
At the time when he was taking over the country, working on even the mentality of the people alone was a problem. Because their understanding and their mentality must be worked on. You have to work together with people and not leaving them behind. Because it wasn't like one man show. You need everybody within every district, within every community to understand your ideas and your policies.
Right.
Before everything can be brought to bear.
Right.
So it took us to mobilize community meetings with a revamping of the information service, purchasing of vehicles, information vans, mobilizing the officers across the country to go around and then have interactions with people. Ministers are moving out together with MNBC to talk to the people to understand where we stand. And every Ghanaian bought into it. Before we started opening the road network, extension of widening of our streets, provision of water, changing the price, putting in pumps, so that at least the pumps can take care of the population that we had at the time. And periodically, changes were being made. My brother, today you see the Kanda highway, and what they think is helping out of money. The Kanda highway was around Tar Road. It was around Tar Road, and it was around a footpath. Today, we have been able to demolish structures. People stood against it. They were not happy that their buildings were being destroyed.
Right.
Because of the vision, we had to go all out to get all those construction work done.
Right. Now, also, would you say that Flight Lieutenant John Rawlings, late Flight John J. Rawlings, was the leader or a leader that made sure, or of course, ensured that there was probity, accountability, and transparency in all the dealings in government?
My brother, when you are with someone at the least, and you can't hold the bull by the horn, or you can't call a spade, and you don't, you don't tell them, you don't send a signal to them guys, you have a good hand, and you are a good man, and when it's time to work, you don't play. And anybody who falls foul to the work of the medal you will deal with the person. For this country, when presidents of schools and all that were straight firing squad and they were shot, it was by way of sending a signal to the rest of the Ghanaians to know that how do you call it, corruption will not help the country.
Right.
With corruption, the job develop.
Right.
With corruption, many Ghanaians will suffer.
Right. Now, talk of
One man
corruption.
will take millions of dollars and then enjoy and be walking around and no one rebukes them of what they have done.
Right. Now,
This will not help our system.
all right, Honorable, finally, before I let you go. Finally, before I let you
everybody is upright. Everybody is doing the right.
Right.
So that they wouldn't face the law or the rigor of the law.
Right. Thank you very much. Now, Honorable, before I let you go, finally, before I let you go, what would you say that all young politicians should pick or learn from the life of the late president?
What I will tell the young politicians is that power belongs to the people. And because no one attains to any school in this world, to go and sit for an exam to be made a president, or to be made a minister, or to be made a member of parliament, genuinely you will have to go through the voting system. Free and fair election. Before emerging as a member of parliament, then you have to make sure the will of the people at all times become paramount. But in a situation where you start doing things in your own way, without interacting with the people and finding out what their needs and their wants to attend to them, you will be disgraced at a point in time by losing an election either at the primary level or at the main election level.
Right. Thank you very much for your time here on Pan-African Television. Yes. So we have been in conversation with Honorable Nilaye Afote Agbo, who is the former member of parliament for the Kpone Katamanso constituency, and of course the former regional minister, giving us a bit of what experiences he's had with the former president John Jerry Rawlings. Now, away from that, now let's move to some other stories now. After several years of having to live without access to potable water and battling with disease born out of only source available to them, residents of Adofo Krom in the central region can now heave a sigh of relief. The community henceforth gets to fetch from a safe source as a result of construction of a borehole donated by entrepreneur and philanthropist Shanita Foster through the KJM Foundation. The Gesta forms part of the organization's Clean Water Project in line with their mission to provide access to potable drinking water to Ghanaian household and African continent at large. Here is an excerpt of the donation exercise.
This foundation was established from a place of love. Loving one another, loving your brother and sister, taking your fellow human being as your own, and being there for them, giving them a voice, giving them peace, and giving them hope, assuring them that tomorrow will be better than today, giving them the assurance that life is worth living. It gladdens my heart to see that people are buying into the vision. People are seeing things from our perspective. And that's the perspective of making this world a much better place for other people.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to sow a seed into the community.
Join us today, and just like water, our lives can change forms too, and we can be something else entirely.
that now Deputy Director of the Tower Hamlet School, Joseph Ajiman Mensah, has urged government to intervene in restructuring fees for private schools in this era of COVID-19. Now, according to him, some private schools are taking advantage of the pandemic to charge exorbitant fees from parents. Mr. Joseph Ajiman Mensah says the move will help address private schools exploiting parents with exorbitant fees during this era of COVID-19.
Of some private schools exploiting parents with exorbitant fees as a result of financial challenges faced during the closure of schools due to the COVID-19. Speaking to the media, Joseph Ajiman Mensah appealed to government to intervene in restructuring fees for the private schools. The administrator explained that the pandemic has had severe impact on businesses, rendering a lot of parents jobless, hence the need for government to intervene to stop private school operators from charging exorbitantly.
Some parents have lost their jobs. Most of them are out of job. So if you should increase the school fees, the students will not be able to come to school. So we have maintained the fees that we were paying before the closure of schools, somewhere in March. The appeal that I will make to the government is that we like the government to have a standardized form of this fees. If the government will have a way of helping, we have the schools we have in groups. We have group A, group B, some are A in A, some are B, some are C. If they come out with the fees that should be paid by those in group A, those in group B, those in group C, it will help. Else, we see schools charging fees anyhow.
He indicated that Tower Hamlet School, unlike other private schools, is ready to provide support to all parents in this era of pandemic. He touted the excellent performance of the school over the years.
Secret is that we make sure that the students don't joke with their studies. We give them homework. We write a lot of mock. We have external mock that they write, and then we have internal mock that they also write. When they get to Form 3, they don't joke. We force them with a lot of mock that they write, just to prepare them for the BECE.
The director of the school, Michael Afrifa Mensah, has called on all, including the pupils, to adhere to the COVID-19 safety protocols to prevent contraction and spread of a disease. He advised parents to allow their wards to go back to schools and assure that Tower Hamlet School is strictly adhering to all COVID-19 protocols.
The pandemic is not going away now. It's not leaving now. It has come to stay. So I think it's the best for us to keep or observe all the safety protocols and then allow the kids to come to school in the future. So if we decide that the kids are not going to come to school, I think it's going to affect our children. So we are pleading to all parents that the safety protocol has been taken from here. So they should allow the kids to come.
Health story. Now known as Abedru or Koru Nsunsua, turkey berry is an erected, branch, slender, perennial shrub, 2 to 3 meter tall and 2 centimeter in diameter, and is spirally armed, densely pubescent overall with many gray stylettes hair. Its fruit are used in Ghanaian cuisines to add taste. Today the health desk examines its health benefits.
Turkey berry, scientifically known as Solanum turdum, is also known as plate brush, devil's fig, pea eggplant, bacatia, pea aubergine, wild eggplant, gully bean, tekokak, Sasumba, and many other names native to Central and South America and currently found in India, Africa, China, Thailand, the Caribbean, South America, Indonesia, Florida, Alabama, Brazil, Mexico, Ghana, Jamaica, and New Guinea. Puerto Rico. In the high mountains of Puerto Rico, they grow thousands of pounds of turkey berries, and other places in the US and the world. It grows in wide range of habitats throughout the tropics and subtropics. It grows best in warm, moist, fertile conditions, but once established, it can withstand droughts by shedding its leaves. This plant is seen on vacant lands, roadsides, pastures, riverbanks, and other such areas. The fruits are actually small, smooth, and globular berries 1 to 1.5 centimeters across the bone on 1 to 2 centimeters, pedicle thickened upwards. Turkey berry normally have spicy flavor and are slightly bitter in taste. Because of its unique taste, it is found used in several food items since ancient times till now. Traditionally, turkey berries are used in household meals, giving it a somehow bitter taste. Apart from that, turkey berries have some amazing healing benefits. Turkey berries are antibacterial, antifungal, and help to stop the excessive cell growth, making it significant for cancer. Research shows that extracts of turkey berry can help to protect against lung cancer. Including dried powdered leaves of the turkey berry plant to cooked berries help to control diabetes. Regular consumption of turkey berry is considered good for digestion and helps to treat indigestion, stomach aches, diarrhea, as well as other digestion-related problems. These berries are capable of neutralizing acid in the stomach, making them significant for healing gastric ulcers. Turkey berries consist of saponins, flavonoids, tavosides, alkaloids, glycosides, tannins, chlorogenome, etc., which are actually powerful antioxidants that help to prevent cardiovascular diseases, strokes, and cancer. The dried berries made into a powder helps to lower blood pressure and prevent heart attacks. So, including fresh or dried turkey berry is extremely beneficial for dealing with cardiovascular diseases and strokes problems. Turkey berries aid in the prevention of pains, redness, and gout treatment of phlegm and mucus. Frequent consumption of turkey berries also help regulate menstruation and so can help with regular menstrual periods. So anyone with menstrual problems can include turkey berry in their regular diet to solve all the associated problems.
So that's what we have for you on our local front. Up next is business. So now let's do some business story. Now, Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Amishadai Owusu-Amwa, has revealed that the Ghana Revenue Authority exceeded its revised average target of 42,769.50 billion Ghana cedi for the year 2020. Now, according to him, the authorities was initially budgeted to collect taxes revenue of 47,253.95 billion for 2020 fiscal year.
Presented a 7.6 growth over the actual tax revenue collections of 43,907.12 billion Ghana cedi for the 2019 fiscal year. However, as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic, the budget was revised to 42,769.50 billion Ghana cedi. This represents 2.6% negative growth over the actual revenue collections of 43,907.12 billion Ghana cedi for 2019. However, speaking to the media at a press soiree, the acting commissioner with excitement announced that despite the COVID-19 pandemic and its negative impact on businesses, the GRA was able to meet its 2020 revised revenue target. The authority was tasked to collect a revised tax revenue target of 42,769.50 Ghana cedi. As of December 2020, we had collected 45,338.69 million, exceeding the budget by 2,569.19 million Ghana cedi, thus with a positive deviation of 6.0%. He added, though the GRA is yet to know from the Finance Ministry its revenue target for the year 2021, it has set for itself an aggressive target to collect a provisional tax revenue of 60 billion Ghana cedi. This constitutes a 32.3% increase over the 2020 actual collection. He further stated that the introduction of new excise tax stamps, 10 Ghana card replacement, e-commerce, restructuring of domestic tax revenue division, deployment of information technology tools, tax education, among others, are all part of the strategies to ensure the Commission realizes its 2021 targets. He advised members of the public to be tax compliant so that, together, the country can mobilize the needed revenue for national development.
So that's all we have for you on our business front. Up next is international. Let's do some international stories. Now, on January 14, 2011, the then Turkish President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali, who had ruled for almost 23 years, was forced to resign, marking a major victory for the Arab Spring protest. Now, exactly 10 years later, protesters took to the street again with very similar demands.
Of a week, mass agitations broke out in many cities in the country, even as security forces repressed them with tear gas, beatings and arrests. Over 1,000 protesters were arrested, many of them between the ages of 15 and 25. The protests continued on Saturday, as well, with hundreds taking part in the march in Tunis despite a government ban that cited the COVID-19 pandemic. The current protests raised certain fundamental questions about the post-Arab Spring political class in the country, which has failed to address popular grievances and use repressive methods to curb protest. The use of force by the state against protesters instead of addressing their concerns has especially infuriated the youth of the country. For the majority of them, like Union of Communist Youth of Tunisia member Sana Bouzazi, the accumulated failures of the post-Ben Ali government to curb corruption, unemployment and poverty has led to serious doubts about the system they helped create in 2011. The UJCT is a youth organized of the Workers' Party in Tunisia. According to Serine El Wadi, another member of the UJCT, the more force the state will use, the more intense the protest will be. They argues that while protests against widespread poverty, hunger and unemployment have been going on for long, they have acquired a massive scale this year, mainly due to the strong arm tactics by the state. Bazou pointed out the state is using the exaggerated claims of violence and loot by the protesters to distort distort and defame it, adding that this method of defaming protesters was used by the Ben Ali regime as well. She, however, asserted that if Ben Ali could not succeed in derailing the protest, the current regime will also fail to do so. Both Buzazi and Edwaldi said the current protests are primarily a response to the falling standard of living, rising poverty and unemployment, particularly among the youth. The failure of successive governments in addressing these issues has led to an increasing number of people and groups questioning the entire system in the country, which was celebrated as the only success story of the Arab Spring. The government's failures have become starker after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a country where tourism sector is the largest employer after agriculture, global lockdowns have greatly affected the sector. The decline in tourism flow, which would otherwise have peaked between June and October, led to massive seasonal and permanent unemployment. Tunisia's economy shrank almost 9% last year, the largest contraction since its independence in 1953. The official rate of unemployment is around 16%. However, the majority of those employed are in seasonal and temporary jobs. Unemployment in the age group of 15 to 25 is over 36%. Though the government has tried some ad hoc measures, like banning companies from firing employees during the lockdowns, these are not sustainable. The rising prices of essential commodities have added to the woes of the poor and working class people at a time when incomes have shrunk. The lack of income and employment opportunities had led to the largest exodus of Tunisians from the country in recent years. As per the Tunisian Forum for Economic and Social Rights, the country saw a massive jump in migration last year, with 12,883 Tunisians leaving for Italy alone. In 2019, the total number of migrants to Italy was just 2,654. The real numbers are likely to be higher because a larger number of migrants are unaccounted. Crisis of legitimacy. The people want the fall of regime. Edwaldi emphasizes that the ruling dispensation, which is dominated by parties such as Ennahda and Heart of Tunisia, are adept at performing well in elections by utilizing the widespread networks and tapping religious identity, even as they have refused to engage with the issues of the people. On the other hand, leftist organizations such as the Workers' Party, which have been in the forefront of engaging with the people, have struggled to break the electoral dominance of the religious and corporate-sponsored parties. For many, this is a sign of crisis of legitimacy faced by the political system. Incidentally, apart from visiting some centers of the agitation in Tunis and appealing for calm, President Kais Saied and Prime Minister Hichem Mechichi have done nothing to address the issues raised by the protesters. It is clear that the government knew that the protests were coming since it issued a 4-day lockdown on the occasion of the anniversary of the 2011 protests, citing rising cases of COVID-19. As per Edwaldi, this was a purely political decision and a sign of a wide distrust between the people and the government. The government has tried to project the protests as something unexpected. The TAP New Agency on Monday quoted officials as saying that they are unclear on the real reasons for the protest. It was only on Tuesday, the 4th day of the protest, that Mechichi issued a statement acknowledging the reasons for the unrest and repeating his appeal for calm without announcing any concrete steps to address the issues. Given the state's reluctance to acknowledge the people's issues and take concrete steps to address them, the protesters have lost all hope in the current dispensation. It is thus no accident that throughout Tunisia, the slogan of the Arab Spring echoes again: the people want the fall of the regime.
That's all we have for you on our international front. Credit to the People's Dispatch for the international stories. Now, my colleague Bless Alamaso is here with me to give us the latest in the sports world. Bless, how are you doing?
I'm great. Yourself?
I'm doing splendid. I'm doing fantastic. Well, I'm hearing some news in the sports, arena. I'm hearing that Chelsea have sacked their coach assistant now. Is there any element of truth in that?
Yes. So it's been confirmed. The official website of Chelsea have confirmed that they have parted ways with Frank Lampard, you know. So
any reason?
I think it was coming. It was coming because Chelsea had made a litany of marquee signings, and then we're expecting them to come good, but they couldn't. So
you think Chelsea made a mistake in getting Frank Lampard as their coach at the first place?
Well, people would say he was inexperienced, but looking at what he did with Derby, you know, like Derby County in the Championship, they felt that, you know, giving him a chance, he could prove his worth. But then it didn't go as planned.
Right.
It didn't go as planned.
Right.
So let's come down to our local terrain here. So match week 10 of the Ghana Premier League season was in full swing, and then there were some interesting fixtures. Kotoko played Aduana Stars. Now, they had the opportunity to go top if they had won that game, but unfortunately, they were beaten by Aduana Stars by a lone goal. And then elsewhere, the shocker of match week 10 was the fact that the Gone Cities, you know, they played Ash Gold and they thumped them 5-2. So there's more to that story.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko were beaten by Aduana Stars in the match week 10 of the Ghana Premier League at the Accra Sports Stadium on Sunday. Yaya Mohammed had the first shot on target but was saved by Razak Abalora. Patrick Asma became the first casualty in the game for the home side after picking up an injury. Kotoko's Emmanuel Neti kept tormenting the Aduana defense and won a free kick for his side in the 40th minute, but Fabio Gama failed to direct the ball into the net from 42 yards. Asante Kotoko was appealing for a penalty in the 41st minute after Neti's shot was blocked by Tijani, which they claimed was a handball, but the referee ignored the calls for play to continue. Samuel Bio broke the deadlock in the 73rd minute with a sweet strike as Aduana Stars took the lead. Aduana Stars held on to the lead to record their first away win of the season. Meanwhile, Legon Cities FC recorded their second victory of the season after producing their very best to beat Ashanti Gold SC 5-2 on Friday at the Accra Sports Stadium. The Royals have made back-to-back home wins for the very first time this season in the Ghana Premier League. The win sees Cities move to the 15th position on the league standings. Bashir Hayford made 3 alterations to his squad that lost 2-1 to Aduana Stars last weekend in Doma with the return of Baba Mahama from suspension. Mahama replaced Fadili Yusuf in the starting lineup, whereas Nasiru Moro also took the place of Brahma Foster. Youngster David Kujo also replaced Nicholas Jan in the starting lineup. Serbian trainer Milovan Sekovic also made just one change to his team that drew 0-0 with Mediama SC last Sunday at the Lenkley Stadium in Obuasi. Skipper Amos Adai returned from injury to replace youngster Isaac Opoku Ajiman. Ashanti Gold got their noses in front as early as the 6th minute after Yawano took advantage of a blunder by goalkeeper Fatau Dauda. The Miners' lead lasted only 3 minutes as Moro's sumptuous strike drew the host level in the 9th minute. Ano restored the advantage for Ashanti Gold in the 31st minute, while Cities pulled parity on the stroke of half-time through Jonah Atukwe. Man of the match, Mahama put the Royals ahead just 4 minutes after the break. 2 goals from youngster Kujo in 10 minutes sealed the emphatic victory for Cities as they recorded their second win of the campaign. Cities ended the match with 10 men after central defender Nicholas Mensah was sent off for a cynical tackle. Cities will take on Inter Allies FC in a regional derby in match day 11, whereas Ashanti Gold tackle Asante Kotoko SC in the Asatiman derby on next Sunday.
Now, as part of efforts to promote grassroots football in the community, the Dansomatic Youth Movement, in collaboration with the youth of Kwabena, have organized a tournament between 4 teams in the community. Now, in yesterday's game, Perry FC and Hasla FC played a goalless draw at the Kwabena School Park.
The tournament, which started on January 3, 2021, has given the youth who are interested in football to showcase their talent. And the match played yesterday between Team Perry and Team Hasla, both teams gave their very best of soccer action but ended in a draw after 90 minutes of play. The teams performed very well with the aim of getting the 3 maximum points to advance to the next level of the competition, but could only manage to share the points. The match continues this Friday as Academy Boys take on Team Perry, and on Sunday, FTA Boys will play Team Hasla in the first round of the competition.
Now that's how we draw curtains on today's Midday Sports with me, Blessed Headman Alomaso. Ivan Bansaban takes over with the latest updates in entertainment.
Now sports, there with my colleague Bless Alomaso giving us the latest update in sports. Now let's do some entertainment stories. Now, the world is fascinated by Ghanaian culture and design, but the creative arts isn't given much attention. The fashion industry, which can grow into a giant conglomerate in Ghana, has been left ajar and faces funding issues, placing it in a detrimental state. This results to entrepreneurs playing their business in fashion, modeling, photography, makeup, styles, among others. They travel abroad to better economic supports.
The Ghanaian government has refused to recognize the fashion business as a cultural industry, thereby making fashion designers or fashionpreneurs ineligible to receive any arts grant or funding. For the emerging fashionpreneurs, such financial assistance can be critical to growing the business. If the government doesn't see a need for the fashion industry locally, it becomes difficult for the country to convince the international market of its existence. If government can see the detrimental effects that varying policies can have on the design communities within the country, how does Ghana as a whole fare internationally, and what are the implications for Ghana? It is not surprising that in countries where the fashion industry is a major contributor to the economy, the domestic intellectual property laws facilitate adequate protection of fashion designs. France and Italy are examples of countries that have instituted laws that explicitly protect fashion creatives. Ghana's fashion industry has the potential to be a big player in the international arena. But what fashionpreneurs moving abroad? Is Ghana really supportive of its designers, models, photographers, makeup artists, stylists, fashion publishers, thereby enticing them to stay in Ghana? At present, the industry is a loose amalgam of Ghanaian designers worldwide, creative professionals, non-government organizations, small to medium-sized businesses, chambers of commerce, and others who are interested in the successful promotion and formal establishment of the Ghanaian fashion industry. While Ghanaian designers can become famous and successful on the continent, those who are most competitive and who are garnering more support, who are able to travel globally.
What's that all have for you on our entertainment front? Now, before we leave, let's look at some messages that have come on our Facebook page at Pan African Television on Facebook. And now, this is coming from Odile Tema. It says, President George John Rawlings, we forever remember you in our hearts. Papa J, rest well. This is coming from Honorable Abedi Kwejo Kumase, and he says that Papa J played his part as human. May he rest in peace. But I'm urging all Ghanaians to adhere strictly to the safety protocols and stay safe. Right. Lastly, this is coming from Hadia Amesi. He says Ghanaians deserve a leader like JJ. Right. There are more messages coming in, but because of time, we cannot read all the messages that have come. We'll try as much as possible to do this each and every time. My name is Ivan Bant Aban, and this is where time will permit us on the midday news. We'll come your way same time in the evening with more updates and stories that are trending across the country, and of course, across Africa at large. My name, once again, is Ivan Bant, and do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Pan African Television. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.